Mr. Rajiv Kapoor, the entire academy, the faculty of the academy, probationers, and friends. Truly honored to be here with you today, to get a glimpse of a generation which is going to live beyond us, a generation which is going to serve this country beyond us, to inherit what we have, but to pass on a legacy for others. These are the choices you will make. But I'm very, very privileged to be part of the Srinivas Memorial Lecture today. What a brave man we had. Had he been alive, he would have been a recipient of the Ramon Magsaysay Award. I have no doubt about it. But I would urge the Academy to make a film on him, if not made already. I think a film of such icons would absolutely inspire the current generations. Books on him, research on him, and even a film on him. And I'm also very grateful to all those who thought about dedicating this memorial lecture in his memory, because these are the people who inspire us. They go through the same training, but they do it so differently. And that's my message for today. Friends, ever since I got this invitation from the Academy to be with you this morning, I prepared my presentation almost the last 24 hours. That's what happens, is because your thoughts get crystallized. But you were with me for many days, ever since the invitation came, in my VRs, in my vacant moments. You kept coming back to me, placing a huge responsibility on me. What is it that I share with you? What is it that I can leave with you? Because every moment is of value. I know you won't forget this moment, nor will I. So what is it that I leave with you so that it stays with you? What came to my mind straight away was that I must give you what is relevant at the foundation stage. Because what is important is your foundation. I cannot burden you with something which you would do when you're 20 years into service, 15 years into service, or later. But what is it now that you become conscious of so that you build your foundations? And over that would be the rest of the architecture of your life. So that's what I thought for you. So it's a presentation which has grown in my thoughts ever since I got your invitation, Mr. Kapoor. So that's why I've made the word foundation red. So basically, it's all about building a foundation. This is where you are, aren't you? You are at a foundation. And here are your faculty working with you, helping you build your foundation. Here are your other instructors and even you working on your foundation. Every classroom, friends, is a foundation. Every classroom is a brick. It's a brick. It's a brick over a brick. And no brick can be misplaced here. Every brick has a meaning. I want to tell you, when I was here, 1972, in September, same time, doing my foundation course, I wasn't aware how important these bricks are. Every subject you are attending to, every class that you are attending to, is not for marks. It has a meaning. And why I'm saying it has a meaning, when we, later on in our years, get back to solutions, rules, regulations, policies, knowledge, insights, judgments, all this knowledge comes back to us if applied with interest, if learned with interest. I wasn't told this. When I was here, I wasn't told this, friends. I'm not blaming anybody. Therefore, I want to tell you what I would have, had I been told more about the importance of the foundation course, I would have studied it totally differently. I would have researched a lot my own. I would have turned it 360 degrees myself, only to acquire more knowledge to be a solution provider later. So you're critical, every brick, every classroom. If you miss, you're missing something. Therefore, be very attentive. It's not just competitive. It's not for interstate seniority. It's not only for interstate seniority. Well, it would. The merit list will. But the knowledge which is hidden within the books, the lectures, the research papers, everything has a meaning. It's a brick into your foundation of intellect, knowledge, skills. So these are your foundations which you're building. Understand the meaning of it. Every lecturer, every subject, every one of you has a meaning. So give it full respect. That's my first message. Once you do that, you are into two platforms. You already came hardwired. In a way, you came soft and hardwired. You already came. You already are teachers yourself. You've taught yourself to make it into one of the toughest examinations of this country. You're all self-taught. You're all lecturers and teachers in your own way. You self-prepared. You self-wrote. So you're already prepared. You're hardwired, you're soft-wired. But the professional skills of the skills required for running the All India Civil Services in your responsibilities are being taught by the workmen earlier, as you saw. So in the end, you are now into two platforms. You came with one, you're building another. But how vital the two platforms and the two foundations are. But the question is, friends, which I wanted to ask, and this is what I search when I work through my career, what is hidden in between these layers? We're constantly searching. I get, now as Lieutenant Governor Puducherry, I am dealing with young officers who are coming on their first assignments. And I know they've all come from the same training, but they all respond differently. They all deliver differently. They all think differently. Their mindsets are so very different. And on one has to work on, the other delivers on his own. So I start wondering, what is hidden in these? What do we do? How do we address this? One runs, sprints in whatever one decides. The other slogs. In fact, has to be pushed out of the chair to say, go and deliver. And in one of the first assignments, soon after the probation is over. So what is hidden between these layers? Is you. Is you. Because you have already come with you. And it's you and your attitude. That is what I know how we are working with in some of the products who've come recently. Attitude. And it's very, very vital, and I want you to keep this in your memories. Keep this examination. Question then, friends, is, which I start to ask for you, is do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Or are you going to be just your designation? Or your surname? Or your region? Who are you? Do you know who you are? It's very vital. Who are you? How did you get to know yourself? If you know who you are, how did you know? How did you get to know? I'm now entering the hidden yourself. Hidden questions which came to my mind, which come to my mind even now. But these are questions which are lifelong. But they must come to you very early. And these are the areas you've not been yet tested. You've not been examined yet. And this examination, as I say, who's going to be, what is this subject? Was this subject a subject of our examination? Yes or no? Do you know who you are? Was it tested? Was this a subject of our examination? How will we get tested? Who will test us? What will be our grades? What if we fail? Do we know how to pass? What does passing mean to you? Are we in private or in public service? If some of you have done corporate work already, remember when you joined the corporate world, you were given a large contract. You were given measurables. And your salary was linked with what you deliver. So are you now in private or in public service? And what contract does public service give you? Or is it tangible or is it intangible? Do we know our syllabus? The syllabus of our life? The syllabus of our profession? Who lays down the syllabus in government sector? Who lays it down? I've done so many assignments, my friends. I never got a saying this is your profile, a job profile. Well, in private sector, each one of us gets a job profile, don't we? Do we? Raise your hands, those who did private sector before. Look at that. That's a large number. Did you not get a job profile? In my service, even the director hasn't got a job profile. He designs his own profile. He imagines his own profile. Well, expectations are your profile. So it's expectations that you would churn out the following. The syllabus would be completed. There'll be highest amount of discipline. People will get motivated and inspired. They will be transforming. But it's not written. It's not written. So who lays down the syllabus in government service? These are questions to be addressed now. Is the syllabus internal or external? I believe all the syllabus during my time was all internal. I got an assignment as Inspector General Prisons. Just posted, not even with the tenure, just posted. Or posted as Joint Commissioner Training, posted. DCP Traffic, posted. No tenure, no profile. No expectations, posted. And in the end, appraisal went by my colleague saying, very good officer. I don't think much. I didn't even know what he wrote. So friends, is the syllabus internal or external? And the results are not even known. So what are those results? I've raised the question earlier. How long is the journey? How long is the journey? And who are our co-travelers? In government, who are our co-travelers? Our co-travelers are people. Our co-travelers are our beneficiaries. Our co-travelers are our colleagues. Our co-travelers are our families. Our co-travelers are our families. We have many co-travelers, but they are co-travelers. But who is the station manager? I'll explain to you as I move on. Who is the station manager in this journey? Finally, what is the purpose of service? I know what you said in your interview to qualify. I know. But did you really mean it? Will you apply it? How many of you will remember it? Is a question. What is the purpose of the nation? And you all said it, to serve the nation. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Nobody said no. But many will say later on, no. It will change over a period. So I'm trying to instill some amount of awareness. So what does this mean, serve the nation? You must have been asked. Like, for instance, I was grilled in the interview, and one question I can never, ever forget. I wrote in my form column of the UPSC, a column, religion. I stopped short in writing who I was. I studied in Catholic school. My parents were mixed, both Sikh and Hindu, and we had lots of Muslim friends. I belonged to a very mixed community. I went to everywhere, every spiritual place my parents took us. Prayed in the church, sang, banged the temples around, went with my grandmother to the Gurdwara temple in Amritsar, everywhere. We played. We never knew who was a Muslim or a Hindu. We played. We loved it. And when the column came religion, I did not write Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, or Christian. I wrote humanity. That was as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, when I was writing my column called Humanity. And in the interview, I was asked this. Are you Abu Ben Adam? Madam? Kiran, are you Abu Ben Adam? That you wrote mankind and humanity? I said, no, sir. I just believe in this, that this is my religion. My religion is service to mankind. It doesn't matter to me which caste he belongs, which religion he belongs, which region he belongs. It's humanity. I wrote this at the age of 21. Now at the age of 66, it still is. That means I did not lie. I did not lie to the UPSC. Friends, I did not lie. I've stood the test of humanity. And one of the recent examples is like Srinivas exactly, in my prison, I had terrorists, I had rapists, I had all people from all forms. Each one had access to reform opportunity, each one. But according to their need and intensity. So friends, what it is important is, I'm just giving you a personal example, how I lived up to something which brought me into the service. And I know I scored very high in the interview. My interview actually got me through. And I think these value systems where I was tested, but I did not say it. It just came off saying humanity, something which I wrote without even knowing I'll qualify for the services. So I was questioned. So what does it mean? You need to think, what does service of the nation mean? Getting out of your comfort zone every day, does it mean that? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because India's at serious crossroads, very serious challenges. And we have to shed off these ties and shoes and jackets and go and dirty our hands every day. If we don't get out of the comfort zone, we're leaving problems as they would be. And for some juniors, we have to drive them out every day today, and for others, they're driven on their own. I have a collector in Karaikal called Parthiban. I went to Karaikal on one of my tours, and he said, ma'am, do you know what he said? He said, ma'am, next time when you come, I will not have money to clean up the town for you. That means the town was so dirty, and he just joined as a collector. And he spent all the money sweeping the streets for a lieutenant governor, as a respect to the governor. That set me thinking. And I was addressing a very large audience of students' friends. There were thousands of students of all Karaikal, because that was planned that I want to connect with the youth. And that changed my whole tone. So I said, my collector is telling me he doesn't, and I told them at that time. Why did he tell me that? Because the students said, ma'am, when are you coming back again? I said, next month. And they all clapped, cheered, next month. And he said, Parthiban was standing right behind me. He said, ma'am, but I won't have the money to clean up the streets again. That got my goat. I said, what are you youngsters doing here? You youngsters. The Karaikal city is unclean. Our Prime Minister is talking about Swachh Bharat. What are you doing here, you youngsters, 2000? Why can't you join hands with this collector and clean up the street? Do Shramdan. They said, yeah, we do it. Believe me, friends, the collector has an open invitation for me to come anytime. He hasn't got more sanitary officers. He hasn't got a higher budget, but he's got youth. And he's got a city, and fortunately, the education minister was sitting right behind me. And he took the lead. He says, madam, main karunga. I will do it. As education minister, this young man, who was a union leader, elected from Karaikal, he was sitting on my right. Collector was on my left. Students were all behind. They all got together. Visit Karaikal. It's almost clean without any additional sanitary. Because students have all got together to dirty their hands. Why? Because they're being led by that collector. He had only to be sounded. He only needed to connect with the resource. That's what collectorship is about. That's what leadership in any rank. Whether you're superintendent of police, whether you're in the customs or the railways, you are all into middle-level leadership after the foundation straight away. You are into leadership, right? Second level. You're not at the bottom level. You're straight at the second level. You got a lot of people below. You got a lot of people above. But you're right in the transformative edge. But you're not there for too long. So what do you do? Are you going to mark time? That's what I said. Getting out of comfort zone. Parthiban, the minister, and the students all do Saturday, Sunday morning rounds. All of them clean up the streets. And they've cleaned tons and tons and tons. Imagine if this country, led by our youngsters at young leadership as yours, all over the country, this country would have been clean by now. We are the ones who have to inspire them. And all of them love it. They love joining hands. They love the photo opportunities and they love the activities. So friends, what is the purpose of service? That you're subordinated to the cause. Not that you override the cause. Cause rides you every day. Your support systems are alongside but not ahead. Let me explain this very important. This is very, very important. Who's your support system? Your support system is your family. After many people join the service, the family is ahead and the cause is behind. Everything's veered around adjusting and adjusting. Family is vital. Family is energy. Family is affection. Family is strength. Family is life. But it has a balance, and not when it is a cause between If the army man, every soldier of ours, was to keep family above, there would have been nobody at the border today. When you join a service like this, cause overrides support systems. So your support systems have to be steered in such a way that they do not come ahead of your cause. Because the cause, as I said, serve the nation. So how do you balance it? It's an important balancing act you must learn at the foundation stage. Because some of you will have spouses who will be different cadres, different services. You'll be in two different parts of the world. Your children will be elsewhere. How do you give up your cause? Or do you have support system moving around it? My support system with 24/7 became my family, my mother. My mother is the one who handled the home while I traveled around the world or I traveled around the country. My mother. Friends, every one of us in such a service, which is all India and even international, you will have to identify your key support systems. But support system cannot override your cause. Cause and support system have to be probably sides of the same coin. That's where you must think of it at the foundation stage. So that you're mentally and physically agile. You're a bundle of inner energy. Many of us come with sports backgrounds. We give it up. Many of did meditation, yoga earlier. We give it up, thinking it's 24/7. Ab mujhe time kahan se milega? You have to find your time for inner energy. If you don't find the time for inner energy, call the me time. Foundation time. You're doing meditation. Are you? Are you? You're not doing meditation? I'm going to make them do it today. My God, don't skip that. That's the energy generator time. It's a generator of energy. And I'll give you my secret in the end. But in the end, you are a bundle of inner energy. How do you every day generate that inner energy? Each one of you need an inner generator. Because you will be dissipating energy through the day. How do you generate energy so that I have reservoirs? I'll give you that technique in the end. It's not a long technique, but very short, but it will stay with you all your life. You are focused, so what is the purpose of service? You're focused on the cause and always looking for solutions to achieve that in all that you think and you do. Which means you're always thinking on your feet. You are standing, you're getting out of comfort zones and you're thinking on your feet. I'm giving you only that, which one your first assignments, even as probationers when you are in your departments, you've got to be applying this because you're going to make your reputations at that time. Because those are the same people you're going to go and work with. They will watch you. Whether you're a learner or you're a shammer. Whether you're a respecter or are you a hierarchical. All this will come. So you're focused on the cause. And to be on the focus on the cause, you're going to be learning for anybody and everybody. Everybody is a guru for you. Your junior Havaldar is a guru for you because he knows much more than you. He spent 30 years of service and you've not even opened your account. Who knows more of policing? You've only learned aptitude. You will only learn the law. He also knows the law, but he knows the application of law. You know the theory. How will you learn your application unless you listen to him and respect him? You empower yourself and around you. You are trusted and you're respected. You're giving and never taking. The gifts you're going to get through your service, friends, are not meant for you. They're not meant for you. They're meant to be given away. So you have to have a gift cupboard in your office. You attend something and they present you a shawl, trophies, I can understand. Who can you give away the trophy? Let the trophy be left in your office for your successors. But if they give you a shawl or they give you a gift, put it in your gift cupboard in your office. And use it as you want. In the sense, not for personal. Give it away to people you want to give it away. As deserving people who come. All the hundreds of shawls I get as Lieutenant Governor, or the gifts I get, are put in the Lieutenant Governor's cupboard. And who runs this cupboard is my ADC. He runs this gift cupboard. And something we get, something for children, something we get for women, we put aside. And when we deal with the complainants in the open house, we gift away to we think we need. It's a gift away. It's getting to give. And amazingly, the cupboard is always full. Cupboard is always full. So when you learn to give, you get in abundance. You are abreast with the latest tools in your toolkit to meet your higher purpose. I addressed in a probationer's academy, I won't mention the service once, and I asked them, which newspapers are you reading these days? And which television news program are you watching? Half of them say, we are neither watching nor are we reading, because we pass the exam anyway. We don't need that general knowledge anymore. And it is likely to happen with you. Do not give up. Every newspaper, every news assessment or analysis is a toolkit for you. You'll get to know the latest. You must be the repository of the latest, so you can tell your colleagues. So you are a nation builder. So what's the purpose of service? You are a nation builder. Can you speak this word with me? You are a nation builder. So anything which doesn't build the nation is not in your syllabus. Was not taught here. Okay, what is your foundation going to produce as a legacy? Your foundation, and you will have done 4 to 5 years. What's going to be your legacy? I already see a legacy of the young officers who do that. Is your legacy going to be like this? You're going to inherit a lot of these. A lot of officers are broken down officers, broken down computers, ill-trained staff, corrupt people. Out in the outer areas, cities maybe not, but cities hollow from within. I see that happening closely now as where I'm working. It's absolutely, many of them have a lot of these strains. Lot of these. You're going to see these. Don't be surprised. You're aware of these as students when you were visiting people in the government. These are your legacy. You're going to inherit these. Are you going to leave these behind? Are you going to leave these behind? These are man-made. These are man-made by colleagues from us. They've been municipal commissioners. They've been area SDMs. They've been city managers. City management is entirely our service. It's not private. Or you contract out, but that you don't give up supervision. Are they out in the field? Are they out of the comfort zones every day? Are they doing Shramdan? Are they inspiring people? Are they reaching out to colleges to inspire and co-opt community? If not, then you're not in the nation building. You are failing the service in nation building if you do not step out and dirty your shoes. Come and clean them up. Take your sanitizer in the car. But this is our gift to the future. This is what I'm gifting you. Are you going to make it dirtier? Or are you going to clean it up? Or are you going to wait for the Prime Minister to say Swachh Abhiyan and spend crores of rupees? Friends, crores of rupees have already been spent on you. Running such academies these are expensive investments. These are already spent on you. What are you going to spend on the community? Is getting out of comfort zones and working with people. Take your gloves along. Take your gum boots along. These are our inheritance. I rarely have seen municipal commissioners, very rarely, walking the streets in the morning. They go for a walk, but they'll not walk the streets. They will ask for a report, but they will not lead a team. This is the change of mindset which the country desperately needs today. And that's a change in attitude, not in aptitude. You know what to do, you know the rules, you know the laws, you're capable of this, but where's your attitude of getting out in the morning, or in the evening, or at night, depending on the problem? I'm only giving you an idea. I'm not saying this is the only problem. We've got problems all over. Everybody has a solution. I went to the railway. We every time go to the railway station. We go to the bus stand. Everybody is in charge differently. There is a problem. Why isn't that officer being there on his own? Why have we to lead him? Why isn't he doing? Because it's not a part of your syllabus. It's not written there, you will do so many rounds every day. It's not written. You have to write it here. So are you going to do this? Or are you going to do this? Some of you will do this. After all, this also has been done. We have this also in Gurgaon, and we also have this also in Gurgaon. This has also been left for us by same kind of our class. This has also been done by us. We are the creators and builders of both. Choose. If you have this, you're responsible. If you do this, the credit is also yours. What are you going to leave behind? This is your preparation foundation for. So friends, the secret is getting ahead, is getting started. That's this foundation for. Getting started. Go back to your respective villages when you get a break. Go back to your respective localities when you get a break. You're already a hero and a heroine there. Do the movement. That's your NGO. You don't have to create a new NGO. Your NGO is your village, your locality, your school, your college, your area. You're already a leader. You're already a role model. You're already a mentor. Everybody's looking up to you because they all want to be like you. So will you just model in your dress? Or would you model in saying, serve the nation? That's the transformation this country is looking for. So secret is getting things done. Getting started with this concept called T. What does T stand for? T is TEA. It's not the cup of tea. It's T. What does T stand for? First is, are you trustworthy? Do you say what you mean? Or you say one thing here and say the other thing here? As human being, as a person, are you trustworthy? Are you predictive in your statements? ये एक बारी बोलेगा तो ये करेगी, ये करेगा, ये करेगी. ये कायदे का आदमी, इस पे विश्वास किया जा सकता है. And you hear another, अरे इस पर विश्वास मत करना, ये कहता कुछ करता कुछ. That's not the leadership what you're looking for. And that's what Mr. Kapoor and the Academy expected me to explain to you. I'm giving you 3 mantras of leadership. Test yourself on a regular basis. How trustworthy are you, whether in your personal life or in your professional life, in the service of the nation? Are you trustworthy? Do you do what you mean? Do you say are you aware of what you say? Do people respect you for that? Do they believe in what you say? Are you predictive as a leader? I remember I was predictive. My junior gunne, abhi idhar madam ke paas le jaoge, madam ye karegi. One of the latest predictive is when my office got to know, this ADC got to know, my ADC got to, Praveen Tripathi got to know, that aaj chutti hai. Today is Eid, by the way, Eid Mubarak. Sabko Eid Mubarak. Aaj Eid hai, and the Academy got back to us at the Academy, at our Raj Nivas, saying, Madam probably did not know that today is a holiday. Would she like to use that holiday and change the date? Do you know what happened? I wasn't even consulted. What did you say? Check 1, 2, 3. Check, what did you say?
We work on all 7 days.
He said we all work 7 days. He on his own. I got to know later that there was an option that we could change the date. I'm sure you would have loved it, isn't it? I'm sorry for ruining your holiday or taking away your holiday. But let me tell you, this is the way you have to be. It's a part of your training. There are no holidays in public service. Every holiday has a meaning. Every holiday has a reason. You can plan it properly and balance it out. So friends, first is being predictable. Look, the way my ADC has only worked with me for 3 months. Only about just 100 days, I'm predictable for him that if it's a holiday, will she work? And if she's committed, will she continue? Will she cancel? He said no. Second is empowerment. I think here is another example of the same thing. He feels empowered to say no. That means there's a trusting relationship. He knows that if it's the right thing, this is the way to do it. It's the right thing to do. It's empowering. All my life, all my career, it's empowering people, your career. You empower. When you deliver properly, trustworthily, what do? You train people. You mentor people. You guide people. You reward people. You appreciate people. You handhold people. You groom people. What are you doing? You're delegating, empowering. You're not pygmying them. You are enlarging their capacity. You are enhancing their trust, even confidence within. You are empowering people. A leader is one who empowers others. So second is, how do you empower? And not denigrate them. If somebody is sitting in a meeting saying, "Ye kya फालतू बोलता तो?" No, ठीक. तूने बोला, fine. We will come back to you. We will come back. Say, stay back. We will talk about it a little more. You are empowering him when you're not letting him get disrespected in public. And look at the way our seniors sometimes insult sometimes. And sometimes they appreciate. When they appreciate, they empower. When they run them down, they are disempowering. Friends, your role to learn to empower is here now. How do you empower? Empower your colleagues. Learn this technique of empowerment. You got to, because from your probationer time itself, you'll be sired and madam. You'll be sired and madam. You'll already be senior. So therefore, remember, you're already saying thank you. When you say, "तूने मुझे समझाया, बहुत अच्छा किया, thank you very much," you're empowering him. और जूनियर ने तो मुझे सिखाना ही था, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. No. There are many, many strategies. I'm giving you a concept. How do you empower your juniors, people who serve you? Third is alignment. Aren't we both in alignment? He said we work 7 days a week, and I didn't even know it was a holiday. It didn't matter to me. Wasn't it alignment? It's alignment of thinking. And alignment is only in service of the nation. Everything which passed the test of service of the nation is alignment. Every decision has to be in the larger good, like Gandhiji's talisman. Gandhi's talisman was, whatever is good for the poor man is good for the nation. His talisman was the poor man. That poor man was his talisman. The concept of poor, if it is right for him, if it is in his interest, it's good. So friends, this is your mantra. Trustworthiness, practicing trustworthy in personal relationships. At professional life, you should be predictive and live up to it. Listen, you've all come with different degrees of habits. I quite understand that. But in the end, as all India civil services, you need all the three. After this, you all have to be the same. You've got to be trustworthy, you've got to be empowering people, and you've got to be in alignment with the national good. You may be speaking another language, but in this case, you will be judged differently. Trustworthy, not trustworthy, empowering, disempowering, alignment or unaligned, not bothered. So abilities, therefore, friends, is what you are capable of doing. I'm giving you all that is you should be capable. And you're being trained to be capable of doing. This foundation is making you capable of doing. But motivation determines what you do. Now that's inside you. That's inside you. Attitude determines how well you do. If you've read Shiv Khera's book, You Can Win, you must have all read it as a part of your general knowledge. There's a story of the balloon seller. Have you read it? Some of you read it? For the benefit of those who haven't read it. The story of balloon seller. There are a lot of color balloons which are being sold, the red, the pink, black, everything. And at India Gate lawns. And people are all around, children, mothers, parents come and say. So what he does every time the balloon seller does is, he leaves one balloon in the air, one color balloon in the air. And so the children can see from a distance, oh, there's a balloon seller. Daddy, I want to go and get a mummy, I want a balloon. So the balloon seller, the family came to this balloon seller, and this little child tugged that balloon seller from behind the jacket, saying, "Uncle, uncle, does a black balloon also go up?" And uncle told the child, "Child, it is not the color in the balloon which goes up. It's not the color of the balloon which goes up. It is what is inside the balloon which goes up." So friends, this is inside you which will go up. Therefore, your attitude, not your aptitude alone, will determine your altitude. So what will take you up that balloon is your attitude. Aptitude will be that string, that balloon filling But what will take you really to the top of this country, to be a transforming leader, to be a transformer public servant, is your attitude, which is also inside you. The remarkable thing is we have a choice. Every day regarding the attitude, we will embrace it for that day. And that is what I'm going to take you to a few minutes of meditation, where you will learn to make your choices within every day. It's very interesting. This is just the last bit. I did it for you. This is just over the breakfast. I tweeted it in the morning that at Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy, Mussoorie, to communicate with 91st Foundation Course of All India. I shot these lovely pictures and came promptly, 2 tweets came. Please tell them they run the country but lack spine and initiative. Get complicit in seeking glory and many without service. This is what people's perception is. I did a very innocent tweet saying, look, lovely photographs of our academy. What does a common man say? This. But the best part is, which I will do it differently. He said, give them a punch. But I'll not give you a punch. I'll give you a meditation. I'll take you to a little inner journey. Are you ready? Okay, shut your eyes. And we do it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. All of you shut your eyes. Don't open, don't try and cheat. I'll be able to look at you. Shut your eyes, close your eyes. Just close your eyes and be with yourself. This is your time. Are you awake? Are you awake within? When you're shutting your eyes, are you awake within? Or what is crossing your mind? What are the insecurities which are crossing your mind? And what are the solutions which are coming? I'm saying, are you awake with eyes shut? Because when you shut your eyes, a whole new world opens up for you. It's called the world of energy. That's your own energy. Okay. I want to thank you for being such brilliant students. No wonder you are here. Thank you very much. Let's clap for ourselves. Seeing you today, I feel my future secure. You're open to new ideas, you're open to experimentation, you're willing to listen. Listen to people who benefited all what we did. If I've learned something much later in my life, why won't I give it to somebody I'm really caring for early, before you lose your time? Because we care for you, why won't I give you something I lost time and learned and give it to you now? Saying you don't have to lose time like I did, you can get it right now. I'll give you the background of this briefly. I was posted as Lieutenant Governor Pondicherry. And I now knew that from my police times, I was half the age. I used to work 24/7. I had my mother looking after me. I didn't have to worry. Everything was in place, but I was half my age. And I knew my habit, field-oriented. I'm going to drive the change. I'm not going to sit on that chair. I'm not going for a ceremony. And being fortunately a Lieutenant Governor's position has executive responsibilities as well. You can see things because you sanction everything important, which is of financial implication. So you can't sign blindly. You have a choice to go and look at things for yourself because you're signing policy making. And you can see policy on the ground. So what happened? It struck me that you're not half your age. But this responsibility is demanding you, is going to demand maximum out of you. How are you going to give it? It's all internal questioning coming in. How do I get it? It came, the yoga day came. I went for a yoga at the beach. We did the yoga in June. Remember the yoga day? Friends, After that, I never stopped doing yoga. Now, question is, when do I do it? Do I do it 6 o'clock? Do I do it 7 o'clock? But that's my exercise time. I used to do my treadmill. So when do I do it? I found my time. Third thing, which also was in my mind, friends, to be honest, is that when I was in Delhi, I had my whole family and close friends with me. In Pondicherry, I have none. I don't know anybody. Who else do I, except my officer in special duty who came with me, Dr. Bell. Come recognize yourself. Show your Dr. Bell. She and I, we decided to go to Pondicherry. I called her up because she and I worked together. We've edited a book together, authored books together. So I said, Amrita, can you come along with me as officer in special duty? She gave up she gave up everything for that, saying, ma'am, I think I'm interested, because she's interested in nation building. All along, she was looking for an opportunity. She got this opportunity. I checked with the secretariat there in Pondicherry, can I have an OSD? They said, yes, ma'am, you can. I checked with my chief secretary, said yes. So we flew in together. Friends, so I didn't have anybody other than her. And she has no experience in government running. She's coming from the educational and private sector background. So I decided to be my own friend. I wanted time to myself. But where's the time? For the first time in my life, my clock alarm was at 4 o'clock. It rang, and I did not shut it. I got up. And I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I did my yoga, and I sat for meditation. And I finished my meditation and yoga by 6 o'clock. So by the time it was 4:30, because your body clock takes its own time, believe me, I was ready for work, ready to go at 6 in the morning with me time. And what happened during this time, I want to tell you that. My higher mind took over. When I sat with my eyes shut, and I sought guidance from above, and I said, I'm not here by my design. I never asked for anything. But I've been given a new assignment, a new responsibility. I need help. I need guidance. I need energy. I need good health. So that I can lead, means transmit energy to the others. Please guide me. You won't believe it, friends. The plethora of ideas which this is what you need to do. Somebody spoke to me. I heard means not a voice, it was thinking. It was thinking, and I felt like saying, oh, that's the right thing to do to begin. I wanted a paper and a pencil to write it down. But I didn't pick it up because my meditation would break. I let it be, but I hoped in my mind I would remember that idea. And then I went for breakfast, I was ready, I started my meetings. But I started a 10 a.m. meeting every day, where the key people in Rajnivas are all members of the 10 a.m. forum, where even our ADC, the OSD, my secretary, the additional secretaries, we all get together. We connect the entire Puducherry by video conferencing. All those ideas came in that 10 a.m. meeting. Every day there was a new idea for that day relevant. I'm not thinking of an idea which should be implemented 3 months from now. What was relevant for that morning, it came. So who was my friend? Who's my guide? I didn't have my mother, my father, my family, my sisters, my close friends who I could say, ye problem ho rahi, kya karna chahiye? Ya main kya karu is waqt? I had nobody. I was my own tutor. My higher mind took over. Friends, it's an experiment worth it. Nobody talks personally like this, but you are not personal. You are national for me. You are national assets. And if you get it right, India gets it right. India gets it right. In the next 5 years, if we create this kind of leadership at the grassroots level, you'll be courageous enough to take your stands and do the right thing. You'll not be in conflict. You'll not be in confrontation, but you'll not be complicit. You'll not be complicit. You will not fan it. You will not encourage it. You will not guide it. You will control it. So what is it suggesting? and I would urge Mr. Kapoor, please, sir, if you can, find out 15 minutes of the day when they all get together. Just let them think for yourself. They will become reflective and they will start on a personal, because many times they won't have friends wherever they go, and the friends may not be the friends they will not be competing with in positions and postings. They may not be able to take them into confidence. Their families may not be, and secondly, they may not be able to offload things on their families. They need self-generating, self-correcting mechanism to make them self-reliant, and the way is this, is 15 minutes to yourselves. Add a little bit of yoga asanas prior to that. Why I use the yoga asana? Because that warms up the entire body to be now be able to sit down. It's not stiff. It's warmed up as a body. It's opened up. It's got enough oxygen within it, and now it's willing to settle down. So you settle down for 15, 20 minutes, and then you're ready for the day, which means you are getting up early. But I have a caveat on that. You cannot have very late nights to have this morning regime. Your nights have to be a disciplined night. Third thing is you cannot sleep on a heavy stomach. And you've got to have the right kind of material in it. So there are 4 things to this. Sleeping at a reasonable time so that you get your 5 to 6 hours of sleep, which you need, particularly in areas where you can. Will be situations when you won't be able to. Doesn't matter. You'll find your own time, you'll find your own ways. There's no one size which fits all. But this is a technique. You want to do it in the morning, then you have to sleep light. You have to sleep well and sleep at the reasonable time. So that means you encourage late evenings for dinners which you may be networking, nor do you be part of it. You have a regime. I do that. I also host dinners, but there's a time for a dinner. People go home. I serve them a meal which will let them sleep and not make them turn around. So give them light food and let them go. So friends, this is, I thought, would be a mantra. Practice it. Don't practice it now. You'll come back to it the day you need it. I've given you a technique. You now know a toolkit where I can go back to it. But if you start practicing it now, you will evolve that attitude. Aptitude you're going to get. But this attitude of self-audit will come. I wish you the very, very best. God be with you always. It's your time now for question answers.